so cute. Well, guys, welcome. I am so glad you're joining us today. This is going to be a huge treat. Now, I hope you remember a few months ago, I want you to know that I'm going back, but I want you to know that I'm sitting here today because of you. Because if you remember a few months ago, I put on my Facebook post, I really want to send this email, but I'm too scared to press the send button. Do you guys remember that? If you do, and there's so many of my friends texted me and said, press it, you know, you can send it. And so you gave me the courage to press the send button, and a lot of you said the worst she can say is no, so I'm like, cool. And so we did that, and that is why we're sitting here today with Betsy Sutter. So she was the person I wanted to email to find out if I could possibly interview her and just pick her brain for a few minutes, and she so graciously agreed to do that, so I'm so excited. Let me tell you who she is. She's Executive VP and Chief People Officer of one of the hottest tech companies in the world right now. VMware and Dell are together. Did I say that right? I don't know. I'm not, in that. But she was with this company. Oh, it says low network connection, babe. She was with this company from the time that they started with 150 employees, and now they have somewhere between around 22, and then she was saying with the additional up to 30,000 people. Can you imagine? So she is the Chief People Officer, keeping this place together, keeping the culture going, and hiring and firing and finding the right people and all of that kind of thing. And I know you guys have a lot of dreams, a lot of visions, and I just wanted to see if we can bring Betsy's experience and knowledge into this place to equip you with things that you need to move forward. Oh no, somebody's calling right now. That's okay. Okay. This is live video, you guys know that, so it's how it goes.
I love it.
So Betsy, would you take about 2 minutes and tell us about your life right now? Tell us what you do, what you enjoy, and all that kind of good stuff.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm enjoying coming up on my 18th year with VMware. So been here a long time. It's been a completely privileged ride, super ride, especially as the Chief People Officer. And I'm really enjoying this stage in the company. It is more complex and intellectually challenging and stimulating than ever before on the people front, given what's going on in industry, given what's going on in the talent front, externally, and as well as internally.
Wow.
And so enjoying myself more than ever.
Good.
At VMware. Yeah, it's
you must
wonderful.
like a challenge.
I do. VMware's core is all about solving thorny problems, and another core tenet is about innovating in everything. And so I get to do that.
Wow.
And I've been getting to do that for a long time.
And you get to do that on the people side, which is kind of cool.
I do. We actually like to do it on all aspects of running the business, not just in developing, disruptive state-of-the-art technology.
Yes.
But yeah, it's allowed me the privilege to do it in my area of expertise as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Love it.
Well, okay, so here is a question for you. If you were to describe your ride at VMware as a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, or a marathon, which race do you think would best fit that description?
Oh, that's a great question because I'm actually a marathoner, so I've run many marathons.
Yes.
VMware is definitely an endurance event.
Okay, all right.
And I'm known in my marathons for running the back half faster than the front half.
Wow.
Now that might be just because I'm conserving energy, but so I'm definitely on the back half of this marathon.
Wow.
And things are humming, and so it's just been a great long distance event. A lot of preparation. Yesterday we had our founders of the company in to celebrate our 20th anniversary, and that was really powerful to look at the past and the present and then the future. But the core tenets of the company, just like in planning for a marathon, were set back then, and we're just continuing to build on what those pioneers set out before us.
That's amazing. 20 years that you've been building on those things.
Yeah.
And that's one of the questions that I had for Betsy today that we were kind of just talking about was, I know many of you are building cultures, you're building communities around your platforms, and you're wanting to bring people and rally them together. And one of the questions I had for you is, how do you take, you've seen that exponential growth from 150 to 22,000. How do you take those core principles that you're talking about were established 20 years ago, but yet you're still carrying them on today. How does someone do that and impart their vision? I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, you have to be deliberate about it. It's not accidental. We had a tremendous founder CEO who sort of set course in terms of what the cultural tenets needed to be of the company.
Okay.
Somewhere around collaborative, collegial. It's not who gets the best answer. It's about getting to the collective and getting the best answer for the customer or whoever. And then another core tenet was around choice.
Okay.
And so VMware's technology was based on providing choice. And I built that into everything that I've done on the people front, and that reflects in our culture throughout.
Wow.
The thing I would say, though, as you build cultures in your communities is that I think people today join communities and not companies, more or less, and they travel with communities. And so if you can create a company that allows for lots of different communities to thrive, you're also fostering more inclusivity and diversity.
Nice.
And so that's another aspect of building out a culture, is being very deliberate about what you're trying to do, what are those core tenets that you're trying to instill, and then constantly reflect back on those. The only other thing I'd add is it's really important to pay attention to the culture killers. So
what are they? No, yeah, like what are they? I gotta know.
Yeah, well, we've acquired many companies over the years at VMware, and the culture killers are when you're going in and talking to a company that you're either going to be merging or acquiring, to really do a diagnostic on where are we similar, where are we dissimilar, why are we similar, why are we dissimilar, and then come up with plans to create those partnerships or those integrations. That's one of the biggest challenges around culture, is bringing different aspects together as you grow and scale.
Yeah.
So our tenets are the same in many ways, but it's really an art, not just a science, of how you bring that all together.
Wow, that's so good. And so, like I was pointing out to Livy, I think it's amazing in the cafeteria when you go in and there's all different kinds of food represented. They have these amazing cafeterias here on campus, you guys, and is that part of like bringing those communities into your culture so that they feel that they have a place in this company culture? That's
right. That they feel that they're really part of it, that they belong, that they're respected. And that it's actually just a lot of fun to continually educate and equip people around who we are as a company.
Yeah, and I love that. Even Damien was pointing out how you celebrate like Diwali and Lunar New Year and like all these different cultural holidays, because they want people to know that it's important. What's important to you is important to me too.
That's right.
Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly
basically to them when you do that?
And so if you create an environment where all sorts of different people can come together, find community, not just one community, maybe two, maybe three, maybe five, but that can then thrive together, be together, hopefully do their best work. Then you've got something special.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm going to totally diverge from my questions right now because I do have a question. One thing that I've been reading, and Adam Grant was here recently, and so you know that, and I've been reading originals, and one thing that he was pointing out is that large companies have that tendency to get, as they get larger, remain inflexible, and that you really have to work as a large company at not surrounding yourself in just people who believe what you believe.
That's right.
Like you really have to, and is that something that VMware does deliberately as you've grown? Have you made a concentrated effort to, as well, not become just homogenous?
Oh, absolutely.
And,
absolutely. From the CEO down, there is a real diversity of perspectives and thought in terms of what we're trying to do. And that's one of the things that Pat Gelsinger does really well. And I will say that Diane Green did a beautiful job with this. Paul Moritz did a great job. Pat is actually doing it more and more at scale.
Oh, cool.
And Pat is very keen on diversity of thought, loves diversity of thought, loves people around him that actually have a point of view. And so point of view is really important, and you have to cultivate that and create environments where people feel comfortable sharing them. And then you get the diversity of thought.
Yeah.
And then you get, and we know research shows that diverse perspectives and diversity around a table just reaps better results on every front.
Well, I think it's so true, because so many times we can surround ourselves with people who only believe what we believe, and then we miss out on opportunities. And by having that divergent thinking, it brings so much more to the table. So it's awesome. Well, I just jumped right to the questions because I was so excited about it. Okay, so this is a question. So you love people, obviously. I mean, you've been a chief people officer for 20 years, almost 20 years. So what do you love most about people? I mean, people can be challenging. They can be rewarding. What is it you love about people?
Yeah, they're like fingerprints or ears or like snowflakes. No one's the same, right?
Yes.
And they can be messy.
Yes.
But I love to understand what makes them tick, what makes them thrive, what brings them purpose, what brings them meaning. And then I like bringing it all together and then figuring out how to build those communities that can foster and enable what a company is trying to do. I think a lot of my longevity is that I don't ever assume I understand where a person's coming from.
Interesting.
So I just don't make those assumptions. I'm always interested in asking a lot of questions. And then I would tell you this, especially as a chief people officer, if there's any future chief people officers out there, that listening is the key. Because if you listen really well, if you listen intently and intensely, they will tell you everything you need to know to do your job. So so that's what I do. I listen, I connect dots, I take in multiple perspectives, and then I can offer up recommendations or solutions.
Interesting. So sometimes we just need to close our mouth and listen.
They do, yeah. A lot of people say there's two ears and one mouth for a reason, but not a lot of people live by that.
Yes, I understand that.
Especially in today's world where I find that people really feel like they need to push their brand and push their point of view. But I think the real challenge is in cultivating your own point of view through a lot of listening, a lot of research, a lot of thought, and then putting it out there.
Wow. So how does your company, this is not on the questions I was going to ask her, by the way, I'm just throwing her curveballs here, you guys. How does your department, how do you keep up with the latest research? And do you look at psychological research? Do you look at those things? Yeah,
I have a tremendous team that are just encouraged to do a lot of thought leadership in a variety of areas.
Amazing.
We just put on a global leadership summit for 700 of our leaders from around the world for 2 days. And we took a very innovative, dynamic approach to how we were going to talk with them and how we were going to engage them. Damien was there.
Yes, he was.
But it's, again, very deliberate in terms of what are the goals. And one of the goals was just we wanted to have a lot of cross-pollination in that example. So the whole design was around that.
Okay.
And then the content is cultivated to support that. Excuse me. But with regard to my team, it's really about giving them permission to go think, not just do. So that's what we get.
And you make opportunities for that here while you're here on campus and off campus. You make opportunities where for them to go think. How do you facilitate that?
We give them time. We actually give them time to go do that.
I need a job like that. Like, can I have a job with time to think?
I understand. So it's good. It's part of what we do. We are a very collaborative culture, and so in order to collaborate, you really have to have time to give some thought to what you're going to contribute. So it's not authoritarian or sort of tops down. It's really about, well, let's again explore what the right answer is for the company.
I love that.
So, and I would say that VMware's history is also one that's just very conditioned to, we know we're running a distance marathon, an endurance event, but that we have to be agile. And so there's some years where we're running a 5-minute mile, and there's other years where we're running a 6-minute mile or a 4-minute mile. So we can adjust.
So are you beginning with the end in mind? You're thinking a long-term process.
That's right. We have a nice vision. We have a nice strategy. And so sometimes what I do is I'll think out and then I'll work backwards to figure out where I need to be.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys picking this stuff up? This is amazing. I know she's like just saying it like she's never thought about it before.
I
This is
just do
good
it.
stuff.
I just do it, Julie.
Exactly. Well, you've been doing it for 17 years, so
Long time.
it's natural.
Long time.
So I do want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned bottoms up and from the bottom up. And one thing that I loved reading about and watching YouTube videos about was that Betsy's helped found the global
VMware Foundation.
Why did I forget the name of it right now?
Okay.
The VMware Foundation, which is a global charitable foundation. And so tell us kind of what that incorporates for people that know I just butchered it right now. Tell us what it incorporates in. I'm curious too about what's been your favorite project that you've had a chance to take part in. So,
yeah, I think the foundation is probably one of my most proudest contributions to VMware and maybe society in the world. We founded it in late 2008. Paul Moritz and I had a conversation and we decided that we were going to do something. VMware had been magnificently successful. And Paul and I shared the fact that we were people in the world that wanted to give back more than we took.
Wow. Wow.
He had founded the Grameen Foundation as part of a previous life, a very benevolent man. And so we started funding the VMware Foundation. But it really took probably another 2 years for me to get my head around and hire a tremendous thought partner named Nicola Acut to help me bring the foundation to reality. And what we did was something very different.
Yes.
So
I want to hear about it.
Yeah, what we did is we basically set out to democratize philanthropy at VMware.
Okay. So
we did not take a tops-down approach. Even though the company was generous enough to found it, we decided that, back to the core tenets of our culture, that choice would be a key component of how we built this out. And so the foundation is about giving 22,000 employees a choice about how they want to give back, when they want to give back, how much they want to give back, and not just in terms of financial capital, but also intellectual capital or human capital. And so it's not a foundation that Pat Gelsinger and Betsy Sutter say, we're going to donate to this and get everybody to line up.
Yes.
It was creating platforms around the world for our employees, our people, to give back to charities of their choice. And this has been huge. It's just been huge.
Wow.
And we've done everything from contribute dollars and matching to establishing something called good gigs, where people can go out for a minimum of 5 days paid for by VMware, and give back to the charity of their choice. So with that, I've been to Kenya, South Africa, Cambodia, Vietnam, India, with 15 people at a time doing major projects, usually aligned with another one of our core tenets, technology, and just having a huge impact on the world.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're all really proud of the foundation. Yeah.
Do you have an estimate on how many people you've impacted over the years?
We do. We run those numbers, and we're different too. We measure the success of the foundation in terms of our employees' engagement with the foundation programs or platforms. It's hard to know exactly how many people you've touched, and we've done it through so many different lenses, but we take a very deliberate approach to engaging our people in this as opposed to just giving them dollars and saying contribute. But we've donated millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Wow. And it's just hard to measure the impact that could make. Because I saw some of the videos for, I want to say orphans overseas.
Yes,
I saw the video from Vietnam.
Yeah.
I know Damien was part of the Habitat for Humanity after Hurricane Katrina. I've seen some of the bike giveaways and the labs and computer labs and stuff just from our own personal experience. So that is amazing.
It's an amazing endeavor. Yeah, and it's sort of taken on a life of its own.
Yeah.
So
do you have one that particularly captured your heart when you went on a trip?
Yeah, I think the one trek that we did was when we went into South Africa, into Joburg. We went into Deep Sloot, which is right next to Soweto, which is where Nelson Mandela lived. And we were there to celebrate Nelson Mandela's passing. He happened to pass while we were there. It was very emotional.
Wow.
But if you want to see the real Africa, or the real South Africa,
Yes.
and the remnants of apartheid.
Yes.
That is one of the places to go. But that was the most moving. And we were doing a beautiful piece of work with teaching teachers how to use our technology to, so it was wonderful.
Wow, I mean,
but I think the timing of being there was part of the magic.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was very powerful.
You can't replicate that.
You can't.
I love how technology can change people's lives all around the world. I mean, it's just, even like social media, just, we're reaching people in Europe and, Australia and stuff right now, and it's really fun to just find out that there's so many amazing humans.
Yeah.
Like, technology really gives us the ability to connect with all these other people that we would never connect with in our lifetime without it.
Right.
It's like really phenomenal. I love technology for that.
I do too. And I think what's going on with technology right now is we know that tech can be used for good, but that there can be some adverse impacts of tech. Yes. And I think that's the next thing, that we'll just get a handle on that, right?
Yeah.
I do not believe people are developing technology to do anything bad, but like in anything, things happen. But I think that's the next wave of conversation.
That's one of the questions I had for you is, as a woman in tech, so a woman in a mostly male-dominated industry, what are the conversations that you're having right now?
Yeah.
Or they are hearing a lot of talk about?
Yeah. I've been in tech. I've been at VMware for 17 or 18 years, but I've been in tech for over 30, right here in Silicon Valley. So I've kind of had this really incredible ride as a woman in tech. And I'm not a technologist, right? I'm a people person.
Yes.
We are, VMware actually has created a consortium of companies that come together and do something called Women Transforming Technology.
Yes.
It's a conference we offer in May. And that's been fantastic. Way back when, earlier in my career, I worked with Anita Borg, who started Sisters, and now there is the Anita Borg Institute.
Oh, okay.
She helped found the Grace Hopper Celebration, and that goes way back. What we were doing with Women Transforming Technology, which is just coming into its third year, is really dialing in on all women in tech, not just technical women, and trying to create a consortium of companies to talk about what are those issues.
Yeah, for sure.
In combination with that, Julie, we've had a tremendous partnership with the Clayman Institute at Stanford University. Okay. They're experts in gender research, and they have taken a lot of their research, shared that with us, and then we've put that into some sort of practice as we've tried to understand this gender bias, gender gap.
Okay.
So there's that. Yeah. And I'm really proud to say that we've just endowed the Stanford VMware Women's Leadership Innovation Lab. This is everybody's getting an early announcement of this. But because there's going to be more research being done on women in leadership positions in technology companies.
Amazing.
So for me, I'm giving you a long answer, and I apologize.
That's okay.
There's a movement afoot, and women are having conversations about this, and I think it's powerful. And I think we're going to start to see more tectonic shifts around this issue soon. Yeah.
So what is it, when you started 30 years ago, what are some of the things that have changed now? And I'm just asking this for all of our ladies that are maybe watching, that are trying to get into these male-dominated industries, and they're kind of going through maybe the beginning stages or maybe the later stages.
Yeah.
But what's changed since you started 30 years ago? How have you navigated that? And then, is there anything specific that you can think of in your experience that is changing now versus 30 years ago?
Yeah, it's great. And I think a lot about this. I have a 23-year-old daughter who graduated from college and is now in tech.
Oh, she
is. So I listen to her stories as she's making her way. Yeah. And I'm just going to be really candid. Unfortunately, I don't think enough has changed. So when I listen to her struggles as she navigates gender bias, even today, it's a little bit disheartening. But I think that it's because women in their 20s and their 30s and even their 40s now, they're more faceted and they're more ready to take these issues on.
Yeah.
I think the key is to make sure that you're creating a community of women that can help you, and men. Some of the best supporters of mine, some of the best mentors and supporters of mine have been men.
Yes.
And so, but finding those colleagues within your realm, they can be diverse, is key.
Yes.
And you can start to join arms and take these on.
Yeah.
I talk to, I know one of your purposes is to reach a certain number of people. I love that. I really do. I share something similar, which is I will talk to any woman who's trying to make her way.
Yes.
I had 3 conversations with fascinating women at VMware that I've never met before in roughly their 30s. And get those conversations. I would encourage all women to just engage in those conversations, just as you're trying to do with me on social media.
Yes.
Because it's very powerful.
Right, and I think there's something in standing up and say, when they go, oh, I'm not the only one,
That's
know,
right.
And when we kind of align that with each other and go, oh, I can help you through this, or I've been through that. And I was talking about that on a recent interview that somebody interviewed me about anxiety, and because I had really severe anxiety and panic disorder when I was younger. And I was saying the more that I talked about it, even though I hated talking about it, the more I talked about it, the more I found more women that would go like, wow, I went through that when I was your age. And then I was able to lean into them and lean into their experience and knowledge and really realize that I wasn't the only one having anxiety.
Right.
And that I was going to make it. And it was something about linking those arms that really made me able to come out the other side of that thing well.
That's right. And some of the research that's been done at Stanford at the Clayman Institute talks about just that. That, networking gets sort of a bad word, a bad rap, because it doesn't have to be shallow networking, right? It can be meaningful and purposeful networking. Sometimes to close a deal or close a candidate, but it also can just be about your journey, right? So,
Oh, I love that.
That's great.
So good. Damien, how are we doing on the time thingy? Okay, we're good. All right. Okay, just a couple more questions. I'm like, okay, I got a few more minutes, you guys. My next question is just a real quick question I had for you, because I was thinking exactly what you said about the mentorship issue.
Yeah.
And, I'm wondering, when you get to a place where you're, I don't want to say at the top of the pyramid, but you know what I mean? You've been in it a long time. You've been growing a long time. How is it that someone at your stage and your station finds people to mentor them? How does that work for you?
Yeah.
Oh, we have 2 minutes.
What usually happens is they usually find me, but they're so tentative to reach out.
Yeah.
So part of what I want to say to all of your viewers is reach out. Just reach out, because there are more women that want to help women, and there's probably men that want to help women. Don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to be specific for what you ask for. And those have been big lessons for me. I early on had someone say, set some goals for yourself in terms of what you want to achieve, and then work towards them and ask for what you need. And it has been a differentiator for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we are reticent, I think, as a gender, too much so, to just sort of say, this is what we want and this is why we want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then come and talk to women like me and say, how do I do that? How do I position that? And we'll tell you how to do it, or we'll help you.
For sure. Well, and I love too in Originals. Again, Adam Grant talks about how sometimes men are the biggest proponents of women succeeding. They can be on your side even more than sometimes women can. And I thought that was really interesting.
It's true. I had an early mentor at the Systems Research Center. He propelled me in terms of asking really great questions, and Pat Gelsinger has been a huge mentor and sponsor of mine.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Jamie, I think we need to reset here for just a second. Thanks, guys, for being so patient. I can see that the connection there is having a little trouble connecting. Do you want to reset the camera for me real quick? Sure. All right, so we're going to reset, and I got like 2 more questions. You guys doing okay? Everybody doing okay there?
Everybody's okay. Maybe they're
doing all right.
All right.
So a lot of people are going to watch this on the replay, so it'll be on my page, and people will come back to it like when they have time later in the day. Great interview. I love her willingness to mentor others. Isn't that awesome?
Cindy, thank you.
Yeah.
Call me.
You should. She's just like a serial entrepreneur.
Oh, that's neat.
And she's
that's
amazing.
Wonderful.
So, okay, so here's just 2 more questions. What do you believe? What do you think that most people don't believe that you believe? Does that make sense? I don't think I said it really confusing. Let me read it, guys. What do you believe that you think most people don't?
What do I believe that most people don't?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard. What do I believe that most people don't? What do I believe that most people don't believe?
Mm-hmm, that's a hard one.
It is. I think I believe that people are way more complex and way more interesting than most people. Now, maybe it's because I'm in the work of people, yes. But I do believe that it takes time to really get to know someone and have a meaningful relationship with them, whether it's just professional or personal. But I don't believe people really understand the investment that needs to be made to cultivate the best out of people.
Not, or even to understand where they're coming from without just like that surface kind of judgment. You know?
Yeah. Judgment's not good.
No,
and self-righteousness is not good.
No, it's not. All right, last question. So, think about yourself 10 years ago. What were your struggles, your fears, your hopes, your concerns, your expectations? Where were you? And if you were walking here on campus and you ran into the Betsy Sutter from 10 years ago, what would you tell her?
I would tell Betsy that she's probably got way more potential than she realizes. That a goal should be to harness that potential and be much less afraid. Because it's scary at the moment, but it's really not that scary when you go over. I'm 57, almost 58 years old now, and I've achieved some wonderful things, had the privilege to be with wonderful people doing great work, and I wish that I had set my sights earlier on just achieving my potential and having those conversations and being less afraid.
Wow.
There you go.
So do it afraid.
Do it. Just do it. That's right.
Wow, I love that so much. If you guys are listening to this later on, I'm sitting here with a big doofy smile on my face because this is amazing. It's been such an incredible interview. Thank you so much.
Fun. So fun to be here.
I know, and we just honor you.
This is my first one.
It's her first live interview, guys. She did it. She did it, and it was fun.
Be kind.
Oh, they will. They're the best community ever.
They must be.
They are. I mean, they made me be here with you, so it's perfect.
It's lovely. Thank you, community.
But we just want to honor you for just all you've done. And I mean, you're impacting people on a daily basis, and that just will echo throughout time. So thank you for doing that.
More than one. Thank you. And
you're
welcome. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, we will see you on Monday. What is today? I don't even know what today is. Today is Tuesday. Okay. I will see you Thursday at 8:30 for Thursday's Facebook Live video. And if you are tuning in, you can catch us on our podcast later. They'll be probably next week. And go live your big, amazing, beautiful lives. I love you. Mwah. Bye.